Meeting to order. Our mayor, Randy Mills.
Well, I had to do this honor for the last time to call this meeting to order. So we are called to order, and at this time, Dave, will you come up and give invocation again?
Let's pray. Oh God, we give you thanks tonight for so many things. We thank you for Mayor Randy Mills and for the many, many years of service and leadership he has given this community. We pray you bless him and be with him and protect him. We're thankful for our mayor-elect, Mr. Vince Evans, and as he comes tonight, oh God, may he feel the support and love and that comes from this community and from this town and this county as we work together and endeavor to be good neighbors, to love one another as we love ourselves, to commit to service and kindness, for reaching out to others with compassion, to being an example for our children and for our youth, and to make a safe community in which all can thrive and know justice and love and honor. We pray in your great name. Amen.
Thank you, brother. At this time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We didn't get a list of everybody, the elected officials that came in, so for the last time, I'm just going to ask everybody that is an elected official, please stand at this time. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank all of y'all for standing. Thank you. How about former elected officials? Will y'all please stand? Let's give them a hand. Richard, good to have you here. Good to have Bill. Good to have you here. Martin, good to have you here as well. And as customary, all the wives of the city council, will y'all please stand? Or stand up. There we go. Let's give them a hand. And for the last time, I would like my wife Carol and Stephen and Caroline to stand. They have given me the opportunity for these 28 years to do what I've been doing. And again, I thank all three of y'all for allowing me to do this. Will y'all stand too? Well, it comes to this. Vince he's already telling me what to do, by the way. It's amazing. He was telling me, let's get this show on the road. I said, wait, you got a couple of minutes before you take over. But what an honor to have one of your closest friends, literally one of your closest friends for 40 years to ladle the football, metaphorically speaking, to. And at this time, Vince, for you and Cindy and all of y'all's family, come on up, and Judge, come on up and do your thing. And while they're coming up and getting settled, I do want to just say a few words. When I was coming to the State of the City this morning, we addressed all the city workers, people that work for us in the morning. And I was driving up Cherokee Run. It was an incredible, I don't know if any of y'all were up at 7:30 this morning, but it was an incredible sunrise. I mean, it was just beautiful. And so I was trying to figure out what am I going to say to all the people for the last time. So I used that, and I said, I want to just use this as an analogy as I go out and as Vince comes in. And really, you know, you couldn't ask for a better person. And as Mayor Walker told me, he is the right person at the right time. But we have two council members coming in. We got Blair Barstow coming in, who literally grew up on Main Street. I can really remember when Lynn was carrying Blair, and we go back that far. But the lineage that Blair has, the Barstow family, what they've done for this community over the years, her grandparents. Mrs. Barstow, why don't you stand? You're here. You please stand up. giving back to their community they have done for just generations. And her dad, who's been on the school board, Wells, for many, many years, has given tirelessly to this community. And even Katie Barstow was on the Atlanta School Board, and that had to be just an incredible journey, I imagine. And but she comes from a pedigree of giving, of people giving to this community. And then you have Jacob over here, who I was kidding this morning, somehow Beasley Drugstore is kind of an epicenter of a lot of things that go on politically here, from Dr. Beasley to Dr. Spivey to Vince and now Jacob. So it's just great to have you here, and those two families that go way, way back in Orr. So again, it's just great. So my point I'm trying to make, and the long and short of it, as Vince is eyeing me down now, is that we are in great shape. And as the sun rises tomorrow, this community is going to be in great shape with the leadership we have. So at this time, Dave, come on up.
Judge, would you come back up? And I believe Coach Stroud is the next person you're going to swear in.
Do solemnly swear that I will perform the best of my ability to duty of council member by doctrine and such name, that in my judgment shall be the best calculated for the general welfare of the inhabitants of the city of Conyers and the common things thereof, so help me God. I will.
Blair Barstow, would you please step forward?
As Mayor Mills mentioned, this morning we do a city breakfast, and at that breakfast, not only do they get to hear from the mayor and the council and that sort of thing, it's an annual tradition we do on the day of the state of the city. We also have an award, and we feel necessary that we'd like to present this award again. It's presented this morning to a group of her peers, but it's the D.B. Gay Award for those of you that have been with us before. And the D.B. Gay Award is an award of excellence in the city. You might remember, those of you that knew Dee, she exemplified every trait and attribute that we'd like to see in city employees. Therefore, the number of years that Dee was with us, this is named in her honor. There are many employees in the city that take great pride and do more than most in jobs, but one is being singled out this year, our 2017 Employee of the Year. The employee is kind, friendly, hardworking, dedicated, detailed, and loyal. The employee grew up in a large family in Newton County. Perhaps the important role this employee plays at the city, she can be attributed to growing up and being a part of this loving family. Prior to starting with the city in 1986, this employee and her sister opened a cleaning service, and then we were fortunate that she started a temporary job with the city that turned into a permanent one, and the rest is history, as they say. The employees worked in 3 different departments in the city over the course of her career: finance, the water department, and human resources. Over the last 32 years, this employee has met every single employee at the city of Conyers. She conducts orientation for all new employees, files insurance, fields retirement questions, follows up on workers' comp cases, organizes employee programs, and perhaps best known for the hard work. And we have a great celebration at Thanksgiving and Christmas for all the city employees, and she coordinates that. Upon D.B. Gay's retirement in 2015, this employee single-handedly ran the Human Resources Department without batting an eye. This employee loves to travel, particularly to warm locations, and I understand she's even taking a ski trip very soon. Specifically, she loves the beach and anywhere the family members are present. True age. A week after turning 17 years of age, she married her husband Jeff, and they've been happily married for 41 years. They have 3 daughters, Julie, Elaine, Katie, and 4 grandchildren. In her spare time, she loves shopping and watching horror movies with her grandson, Braden, who's the only one that will watch horror movies. The husband refuses. But it's with great pleasure at this time that we would present our D.B. Gay Award of Excellence for Human Resources Manager Sharon Moore. And at this time, we would be remiss if we didn't spend a few moments speaking positively, or was that roasting there? Chris Bowen and Randy Mills. It's up to you all. But at this time, I'd acknowledge Gerald Hinesley to come forward and make comments reference to Chris Bowen.
Thank you, Tony. I was thrilled to find out that I was going to be speaking about Chris tonight. So as you're all aware, Chris is rolling off the council after 27 years as a councilman. So I guess in a sense you could say that tonight is the end of a 27-year era. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the end of an era. It's the end of an era. So, sorry. Chris was elected to the council in 1991. And doing anything for 27 years is quite impressive. But being a public servant for 27 years, as Chris has been, is something else entirely. Let me give you some perspective on just how long that is. When Chris came into office in 1991, George H.W. Bush was president. The 6 top-rated TV shows were 60 Minutes, Roseanne, Murphy Brown, Cheers, I think that was one of Chris's favorites, Home Improvement, and Designing Women. In technology, Super Nintendo was first released in the U.S. The world's first webcam came into existence. There was no Pentium processor, because that didn't come along until 1993, and there was no Google or Apple iMac, because those didn't come along until around 1998. And sports, it pains me a little bit to say this, particularly after what happened to my Bulldogs Monday night. But in 1991, Georgia Tech was the defending national champion in football. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is Chris is old. Now, over his 27 years of public service, Chris has worn many hats and helped oversee many accomplishments in the city. He has served as mayor pro tem. He has also chaired or served on most, if not all, committees, and those include the Georgia International Horse Park, tourism, utilities and stormwater, the Nature Center, Cherokee Run, community development, and Old Town revitalization. And not surprisingly, he also chairs the cemetery committee. Not much going on with that one, though. Not only did he serve on those committees, but he also was there for the construction and opening of the Georgia International Horse Park in preparation for the 1996 Olympics, the construction and opening of Cherokee Run, the Nature Center, and Old Town revitalization, as I mentioned before. He also served during the construction of the Old Town Pavilion and the Lewis Vaughn Botanical Garden. Now, those are just a few of the accomplishments during his tenure. But if you look around the city at all the improvements that have been made since 1991, Chris has had a hand in every one of those. In preparation for my comments, I did reach out to a few folks to get their thoughts on Chris. Dr. Fountain, who essentially grew up with Chris and has known him all his life, refused to comment. I'm assuming on the grounds that it could be incriminating to both. However, for those who did respond, this is what they had to say. Chris is a team player. He is a strong advocate for the employees and the residents of the city. He has a genuine concern for the city. But perhaps our incoming mayor, Vince Evans, said it best. He said, Chris is a great ambassador for the city. And on that, I wholeheartedly agree. In real estate, they say that location, location, location is everything. Well, when it comes to government and getting things done, it's all about leadership, leadership, leadership. As a member of this council for 27 years, Chris has provided that. Great leadership. To all that's been said, I would add this. Chris is a man of integrity who does indeed care a great deal about this city and this community. Everything he did on this council was for the good of Conyers and Rockdale County. That was his only agenda, and that is what made him a great councilman. It's been my honor and privilege to serve with Chris for 15 of his 27 years. But that being said, my relationship with Chris goes back much farther than that. Chris, I was thinking about this. You remember all those July 4th mornings we'd get up around 3 o'clock in the morning to meet to go run the Peachtree Road Race? It's staggering that one of us didn't win that thing. Well, I personally want to thank you for all you have done to make our city a greater place to live and work. Thank you for 27 years of public service. That is a race you've run very, very well. And in closing, I would like to say this. You know, my parents always told me, when you go somewhere, make sure that when you leave, you've left it a better place. After serving 27 years, Chris Bowen is rolling off this council, having made it and this city much better than when he got here. Thank you, Chris. You don't miss it.
Thank you, Gerald. There's good segue language there that would fit. You know, he mentioned that Chris had chaired many of the departments here, the Horse Park, Cherokee Run, the Nature Center, and Chris really had a true love for this environment out here, whether it was here at the golf course, an avid golfer, and or the trail systems in the Georgia International Horse Park. And we thought it was fitting, and we consulted with the mayor, and we came up with an idea. How do you congratulate a guy for 27 years? But we would hope that this in some way may be meaningful to Chris Bowen, because what he thought about the Georgia International Horse Park, and really the Nature Center. And Jennifer, this is a rendering, but at the Big Haynes Creek Nature Center, we have that walking trail that goes out into our wetland area. And Chris, very soon will be a prominent sign displaying your name that says the Chris Bowling Wetlands Trail. Words now, words later. A little bit later. Okay, you'll have a moment. Okay, that's fine. So at this time, we'd like to ask Coach Stroud to come up. He has some remarks about Mayor Mills.
Mayor Mills, I'll get to you in a minute. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Chris. I had the pleasure of sitting beside him all these years when he showed up. And to Blair and Jacob, all of us either had hair or either black when we first started. Good luck to you. I won't be here when you're 20 years up. You remember those words. And to a good friend, Vince, you know, I've always kidded him about being vertically challenged. This is a sophisticated audience here. Okay? But since you're now mayor, I will always look up to you. Now, a lot of you, when you think about the mayor, you think about some sophisticated thought that went into this. Randy's our mayor because of a bet that was made by the council out in San Antonio, Texas, years ago at an armadillo race. True story? True story, Randy? Chris? True story. Okay. Mayor Walker was going to retire as our mayor. And the council thought it would be good if we had more continuity if somebody on the council could step into his position. But nobody would volunteer to do it. So they decided to go to this armadillo race and bet on the armadillo. Whichever armadillo came in first, that was who would run for mayor. True story. They got to the armadillo race, and this armadillo and his friends looked up and they saw that council. And they knew what the council was all about. And they started looking around. And they said, you know, we have to pick one of these guys to be mayor of the city of Conyers. And let's evaluate them before we race so we can fix the race and make sure we get the right guy. They looked at me and Bill Rogers and said, no, they're too old. They looked at Chris. Andrea hadn't tamed him yet. She has now. And then there was Marty Jones. And then they said about Marty, oh, he's too Marty. So they settled on Randy. So they settled on Randy. Randy ran and he won. And thank God he did. He has done a good job of leading us over the years. I did know a lot of the things that Gerald said about Chris, but Randy was right there with each one of those things. Plus, I don't know if you people know the great sickly in Conyers, Georgia now is going to Home Depot the back way. They go to Apartment 138. Randy had a hand in that. Pretty soon you will see Hardin Street. The aesthetics of Hardin Street is going to change. Randy had a hand in that. Now, how does Armadillo knew this? I don't know. Also, at Salem Gate Shopping Center, it's going to be revitalized, resurrected. It's going to be something that we can all be proud of. Armadillo knew. He knew. Yeah, Vince wants credit for it. Maybe we'll have. No, I won't say that. Okay. Okay. Also, Randy had a hand in making Conyers and Rockdale the Hollywood of the South. And I know it's an inconvenience for some of the business people at some time, but between shoots, your business should pick up because people like to come where movies were shot for some reason. The same building's been there for years, but since they shot a movie there, they want to go look at it. So he had a hand in that. He had a hand in improving all the streets in the city of Conyers. And when you talk to Randy, you very seldom hear him say the city of Conyers. He says the community. And that's what he's lived up to all these years. So Randy, we want to thank you and Chris for what you've done. We're looking forward to Vince's leadership. And we know that your family will be proud to have you home most of the time. We'll probably want you to run again in 4 years. But in all seriousness, we couldn't have had a better mayor. And when we lost Mayor Walker, we had the memorial for him. He said that all over Conyers you will see his footprint. Where his footprint ended, yours started. But along with yours was a little small footprint that belonged to a real wise armadillo from Texas. Thank you for your service.
Mayor Mills, the staff, as well as the mayor-elect at the time, we discussed this quite a bit. How do you again, acknowledge 8 years on the council before then deciding to give 20 more years of your life as mayor of this city? 28 years, and Gerald did a fine job describing what was taking place that many years ago. But how would you reward one? We thought about several different things. We talked about old times and new. And before I reveal this, I wanted to tell you personally that I've been here those 28 years, you before that, and it's been a great deal of pleasure for me all of these years working with you and the family, because they give you that opportunity. And if anything, the inspiration that you gave to the city and to this community, and a never say die type of attitude, and always trying to move forward and never backward, and keeping the council together, because we have, Lord knows, we have been in some battles when the council had differing opinions, but I can tell you, and I see some other politicians in the room, I don't know of a community around us that can brag for the past 20 plus years that their council got along with one another to the degree that they do. And it takes a man at the helm to be able to hold them together, because when you have rough waters and you have disagreement, somebody has to bring everyone back on track. And that was Randy's power and gift, was to be able to do that. And he did it very calmly and soothed feelings from time to time. But I can tell you, when we left those closed-door meetings, everyone was on the same page and marched forward together because of Randy's leadership and what he was able to do with his compromise and his ability to bring people together. So how do you reward one? We gave this a great deal of thought, and consulting with Mayor Evans, we decided that we would have a rendering for you tonight, and with a great deal of pleasure, we want to show you what we think we could present to you tonight. Jennifer, you've got, I think, the first shot. Oh, that's right. Oh, wait, that's the wrong. That's the wrong thing. There you go. Okay. All right. Sorry, Mayor. Go back to that previous slide. Okay, Jennifer Edwards did that. I want you to know. Mayor, as you know, the skating rink is there currently, and they have decorations and this sort of thing. As soon as that operation ends this year, then we're going to prominently display on the pavilion on two sides. It will read the Randall S. Mills City Center Park. And we have full intentions of developing that into more of a park environment. There are many ideas coming forth from the council now. And only one small caveat is that we gave serious contemplation in when the skating rink is there, that we got to put Caroline's name up there somewhere, because the only reason we had skating for 27 years is Caroline was this big, and the mayor says, I've got to have skating, Caroline wants to skate. So we may have a smaller plaque, Caroline, that talks about ice skating at the Randall S. Mills City Center Park.
Okay. Y'all want to, now's the time.
Well, I sure didn't expect the dedication of a park. Well, I really do appreciate that. But, God, I go back over 27 years ago when this young gentleman here asked me to run for city council. And I thought he was crazy, but I said, okay, I'll do it. And I never will forget, I went to my mom and dad, and for those of you who remember them, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm thinking about running for city council. And he said, son, if you do, remember who you are and where you came from, and you'll do a good job if you get elected. I went, okay, I'll take that. Went to my mom and I said, Mom, I'm thinking about running for city council. I won't tell you what she said. But she said, oh, hell no, don't do that. I said, no, you don't get your butt beat and everything. No, it'd be embarrassment. No, don't do it. But I listened to Tony. I followed my gut. I ran. And I have truly been blessed for 27 years of serving you, the citizens of the city of Conyers in Rockdale County. It's been a great blessing. It has been a long, good ride. And I just thank God for Randy that the Armadillo won back 20 years ago. That was a true story. And but I do appreciate y'all. It has been a pleasure serving citizens of the city of Conyers. And we've got a good leadership team coming in with Vince, Blair, and Jacob. I wish y'all the best. Follow your gut instinct. Do what you think is best. Remember who you are and where you came from. And this city of Conyers will continue. I used an analogy this morning for the city employees. I made the comment, I went, sorry to have my friend, I got a confession to make. And everybody kind of looked at me. I won't tell you what Randy thought I was going to confess. But I says, I actually pulled for Georgia Bulldogs on Monday night. I'm a tech man. So, I actually pulled for the Bulldogs. And of course, they got defeated. But as a brief thumbnail sketch, what I said earlier today was the fact that Georgia has a bright future ahead of them. They got a great coach. They've got a great recruited class that's coming in. They've got a great leadership there on the team. And we can expect more good runs like what Georgia had this year in the future. And as I told the employees this morning, we've got a great city. And it was our employees that makes the city as great as it is. And with the leadership of this mayor and council and our employees, the future, I feel, is very great for the city of Conyers. And I'll still be around. And like I said, it's been a pleasure and an honor serving each and every one of y'all, city of Conyers. Thank you.
That is the truth about the armadillo race. People think we're kidding about that, and what happened is that Chris and Marty, where's Marty at? They each had a can of beer, and they fed their armadillo half that beer. That's the truth. Mine, they went and said it was going backwards. That's right. But anyway, I too, like Chris, just want to thank you. Again, I couldn't have done this without Carol or my family supporting me for these 28 years. I've said this before, you got to have support of your spouse and your family you engage in any kind of public service. And without it, you're not going to prosper at all. So again, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank the council. This has been like a band of brothers. And Maggie, Blair, it's so good to have you come on, Father and Maggie. You weren't there tonight. We had a dinner. But it's truly an inspiration having you come on. And Chris was right. Be yourself. I told Jacob this when I met with him several times. Y'all argue passionately, believe in what you believe, but at the end of the day, if the vote goes against you, come together. You got to work together, and you all got to be pushing that ball up the hill together. But the council, John and Gerald, and of course, Coach Stroud's been one of my mentors even before I got on the council. And in Vince, you couldn't ask for a better transition to turn it over to one of your best friends. I mean, when you get elected and when you decide to retire, things can go south real fast. You don't know what's going to happen in an election. I was talking to Gene about this coming in this morning, and you just don't know. But the outcome we had here was just incredible, and you couldn't ask for a better outcome with two new members coming in, with the existing council, and with Vince being the captain of the team. So again, on behalf of my family, because again, I didn't do it by myself, I want to thank all of y'all. It's been an incredible journey. Again, thank you.
Chris and Randy, one more thing we have, if you come forward. And we're going to blame this on Marty Jones.
That's what I'm good for. Blame it on me.
I was going to have Tommy Moon come forward, but Moon, in typical fashion, he's back there ready to work. So I'll do the honors here, Tommy. But when Marty left the council and this beautiful facility that we're in, Cherokee Run, we're so proud of it. Those of you that know the battle that we went through to get it back when we had it in that lease agreement, and the expense and the time and effort that we put into it to make it, in my opinion, the finest facility in Rockdale County to host an event. Well, as we said to Marty Jones when he retired from his position, each of you have a lifetime membership to Cherokee Run.
See my game, you say give it up, go to tennis.
It did come with a caveat, though, and that would be, as long as the city still owns it, you have a lifetime.
We'll make sure of that.
Now, Mayor, it's all yours.
I want to thank Randy for those kind words. I always felt he was pretty smart. Now I know he's really smart. You know, the good thing about prepared remarks is that you kind of know what you're going to say. The bad thing is sometimes things just come in my head, and they have to come out. And as I was coming in and looking out over this group, I'm reminded of a very favorite movie of mine called The Big Fish. I don't know if any of y'all remember that movie, but it's one of my favorite movies, and there's a scene at the end of the movie where it's a dream, but the son is carrying his father down to the river because he's leaving the world, and there are people everywhere. And the son says to his father, "Everybody is here." And the father says, "The story of my life." And this is the story of my life moving forward. Everybody here cares about what's going on. This is going to be my life going forward. So thank you for being here. I'll get back to my prepared remarks and hopefully get through them. So good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. I am honored, humbled, and excited to be speaking to you as the mayor of the city of Conyers. And speaking of being humbled, I'm going to deviate from my notes right off the bat and tell you a quick story that happened yesterday morning. I was speaking to the 4th grade class at Flat Shoals Elementary, and they're having a project and where they are trying to create a new city in Rockdale County, and they asked me to come and to speak to them about the government. So I got there, I introduced myself to them, told them I was the newly elected mayor of the city of Conyers, and I talked a little bit about the government, but I knew they would have many questions, so I didn't labor long. So then I finished and I said, okay, are there any questions? First hand went straight up, and I go, yes. And the little boy said, so how come I've never heard of you? True story. So, I did not have much of an answer for that. But I don't know if Chairman Nesbitt is here tonight, but if you are out there somewhere, he never heard of you either. So I did feel better about that. Humbling you. Now, back to what I need to say. There are literally hundreds of people I could thank individually tonight, but I won't. But I will thank one person, and that would be my wife. Her support and patience has been unending since this whole thing started. I cannot thank her enough, and even though we spent a very nice weekend in Pasadena, I still owe her that weekend getaway that I had promised. So thank you, Cindy, and you have no idea what your support means to me. Now, sitting next to her is her father, my father-in-law. Yeah, I'm going off my notes again. Sorry. I thought about calling the city and asking Tony and Jennifer if they thought I could talk about this, but then I thought they might tell me no. So I called Bill Rogers. He said, oh, hell yeah, go ahead. So anyway, my father-in-law, sitting there, 90 years old, has been an avid hunter, fisherman all his life. Hey, Papa. Anyway, he doesn't do it so much as of late, but my son-in-law decided several months ago that he would take him deer hunting one more time. See, and I thought that was a terrible idea. All right, let's go through he's 90 years old. Sorry, Pop, this is all true stuff. 90 years old, not the best balance in the world. He's got a neck that gives him all kinds of trouble. So right off the bat, things aren't looking real good. But my son-in-law insists, no, I'll get him on my four-wheeler, take him right to his spot. Everything will be fine. So he did, got him to his spot. So you've got a 90-year-old man, not the best balance in the world, a neck that, I'm not a big hunter, but I think it needs to work pretty well to shoot a deer. He's by himself. Oh yeah, and he has a gun. Okay. So a formula for bad things to happen. So what's the rest of the story? Did anything bad happen? No. Did he get a deer? No. He got two. He got two deer 20 seconds apart. One of the deer was one of the biggest deer I've ever seen. Now, there's no point or moral to this story. There probably are some in there, but I just like to tell the story. Love you, Papa. All right. Back on task. All right. Tonight, as you have seen, we have two individuals gracefully bowing out of public service. Combined, they have 55 years of public service and over 1,000 council meetings between them, and can lay claim to the building of the Georgia International Horse Park and the hosting of the multiple events of the 1996 Olympic Games as some of their many accomplishments. Mayor Mills and Councilman Bowen, the citizens of Conyers will always be grateful for your service, and it has been an honor to have served with you the past 18 years. Oh, okay. Moving on. Although I will miss these guys, there is great potential for our new council. Joining our veteran council members, Cleveland Stroud, yes, who is our new senior member. You can't deny it any longer. Gerald Hinesley and John Fountain will be newcomers, Jacob Bailey and Blair Barksdale, which should make for a blend of experience and new perspective. And when it comes to implementing our vision, I personally believe that we have one of the best staffs around. I also believe that we must take care of employees, encourage opportunities for growth, and most importantly, put them in the best position to achieve their potential. It is a priority of mine to meet with all department heads over the next several weeks in order to understand all the needs of this most valuable asset. Now, looking ahead, as a member of this community for almost 40 years, with 18 years of those on the city council, I thought I had a pretty good idea of the needs of the city. But a tough campaign will give you a greater insight. You can learn a lot from making 1,000 phone calls and knocking on 8,000 doors. Yes, 8,000 doors. We knocked on every door twice of almost every eligible voter in the city of Conyers. Yes, my campaign committee worked hard, but it was extremely educational. We learned the top concerns of our citizens are crime, economic development, and transportation. So I'll talk about them now. First, there is a perception that our city is enduring an explosion in the crime rate, but that is simply not true. In fact, Conyers mirrors the crime stats for the state, with the numbers of crimes dropping 4 of the past 5 years. Yes, there was a slight uptick in crime this past year, but it was still the second lowest in the past 10 years. I do believe that social media is one reason for a higher awareness of criminal activity, but we will continue letting our citizens know of our successes and when we need their help as well. We are fortunate to have one of the best police departments around, based on the ability to respond to crimes and citizens in need. But I don't want us to become complacent in the area of public safety or in any other area of response to our citizens. We have growing concerns in our community, ranging from family violence to the escalation of opioid use. We need to do more than making arrests, because the community cannot arrest its way out of crime. It must seek other techniques to solve its problems. An example of this is the Conyers Police Department's accomplishment in reducing the sale of alcohol to minors. By working with local establishments to train servers, plus our officers holding individuals accountable, we enjoy a compliance rate of over 97%, when the national average is 72%. We will continue to follow this example by seeking methods to respond to problems by enhancing the training of officers, seeking more grant opportunities like the one we just received that will help fund 4 additional officers for the next 3 years, and continue building relationships throughout Conyers, Rockdale, the state, and on a federal level. While creating an atmosphere for citizens and visitors to feel safe is a basis for economic development, I certainly believe we can do more. We can work more with the Conyers Rockdale Economic Development Council to not only protect local businesses and investments, but to encourage their expansion and to attract new companies to Conyers, the very premise of the Economic Development Council. Yes, the city is enjoying the proposed redevelopment of areas such as Salem Gate Shopping Center and the new Eastmore development of residential, retail, and office space off Johnson Road. We are excited about new possibilities in Old Town with the coming of a wine shop, a new restaurant, and the fresh look our downtown will have once things are put back after the originals wrap up. Some awnings will be removed, parts of 13 buildings will be repainted, and the trees that were removed will be replaced. But again, we can do more. We need to be asking, what are the barriers that are preventing businesses from coming here or from growing? What are we doing to work with organizations such as Restoration Storehouse to not only train a more diverse workforce to fill jobs that may come here, but also keep good workers from leaving Conyers? We have a lot of work to do. The last priority recognizes that transportation and traffic are dilemmas that will remain constant, and with understanding that there is not an easy fix. We have seen improvements on many of the major roads that run through Conyers and redeveloped other areas such as the new 145-space parking lot in Old Town. We will continue using SPLOST funds to improve thoroughfares such as the current O'Kelly-Hardin Street, I think Coach mentioned that earlier, the street that runs behind the library. But we will need assistance from the state level as well. We will continue to work with the county to cultivate relationships with our local legislative delegation, including Dale Rutledge, who actually serves on the Transportation Committee. We want to always ensure we are presenting our needs in a manner to receive our fair share of state and federal funding. Yes, crime, economic development, and transportation are priorities, but our vision is not limited to these concerns. One area I heard often during the campaign focused on the need for the city to be more transparent. It is said that openness is the basis for a free society, and I want to make sure that is the case here. We will do more to ensure that citizens are informed of actions being taken by the city, to seek input from citizens, and to create a more inclusive environment. For example, I will be hosting meetings on a regular basis at the mayor's office with representatives from all areas of our community, including the faith-based, business, homeowner associations, individuals, and pretty much anybody who wants their voice heard. And we will continue working with our friends over at the county and school board. The county will again join us at our annual retreat next week to discuss issues that are mutual to both of us. Obviously, by working together, all the citizens of Conyers and Rockville County benefit more. Also, I was asked often what my vision was for Conyers. Put simply, it would be for Conyers to be a caring, friendly, welcoming community for those who live here and those who may stumble upon us or make us a destination for shopping, dining, entertainment, or for business. I want Conyers to be the kind of community that takes care of its own. You know, the kind that checks on your neighbors. A community that's safe, that's clean. A community that takes pride in where it's been and where it's going. A community where, say you're out of town on vacation, you meet a stranger, strike up a conversation, they ask you where you're from. You say, you're from Conyers, Georgia. And they say, how do you like that? How do you like living in Conyers? I don't want the answer to be, it's all right, it's okay. I want it to be, you know what? I really like living in Conyers, and then be able to rattle off a half a dozen reasons why. Is that a reality for everyone? No. But it's certainly a goal we can work towards. I believe in Conyers, and I believe there are champions and people of influence in this community who are willing to further this cause alongside me and this council. This room is full of champions and influencers. You can't help it. You care about your community. That's why you're here. Champions like Renee Turner and Angela Venable, residents of Hunting Creek, who regularly attend council meetings and successfully work with the Conyers Police to make their neighborhood a safer, cleaner place to live. Another champion might be John C. Maxwell, New York Times best-selling author, who once said, "People are more comfortable with old problems than with new solutions." So let's not get bogged down in old problems, but work together to find new solutions to make Conyers a city we can all be proud of, call home, and celebrate each and every day. In closing, I'm telling my last story. I want to share a quick story with you about former Atlanta Falcons center Jeff Van Note to illustrate my promise to you as mayor. The name Jeff Van Note probably didn't come up very often, but you probably remember that. Jeff Van Note played center for Atlanta Falcons for 18 years, parts of 3 decades. Was all pro many of those years. After he finished his football career, he went into broadcasting, sports broadcasting, obviously. I was at a awards banquet, I don't know, 30 years ago, and he was speaking, and he told this story, and I've always remembered it. He was talking about how he and the guys that were doing the broadcasting, they would have time to kill, they would go out to dinner, and they'd start talking about who was the best. Who was the best quarterback of all time? Who was the best running back? Who was the best receiver? And he said sometimes they'd work their way all the way down to who was the best center that ever played football. And he said sometimes his name would be mentioned as maybe the best center to ever play football. And he said, he said, I played alongside a lot of the guys that played during that time. So I got to see them firsthand. I saw some of the new guys, from the booth or on TV. And I've even seen film of some of the guys that played before me. So although it's very flattering, I know that I wasn't the best center to ever play football. But he said, I do know that I was the best center that I could be. So, having said that, years from now, when my time of mayor is up, I don't know where I will rank in the long list of mayors who have served the city of Conyers. I mean, the last two alone set the bar pretty high. I don't know if there'll even be a conversation about who's the best mayor. But I do know that I will have been the best that I could be. Thank you. Just 5 more minutes. Enjoy. All right, that's it. That was actually something that our tourism department is working on, but we just thought it was pretty cool, so we thought we'd show it to y'all tonight. So at this point in time, I guess it's time to adjourn. So I will declare this meeting adjourned. The bar is open, their food is out there, so enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming.